Sure. Yeah, Mayor John Franklin, JOHN-FRANKLIN.
All right, Mayor, talk about what happened today.
So today we began the first of our sheriff's deputies' outreach and sweeps of encampments after the council adopted a resolution on Tuesday asking for the stepped-up enforcement of our now 50-year-old anti-camping ban. Unfortunately, Sheriff Martinez issued a press release today saying in response to the policy that we've adopted that living on the streets and anti-camping or camping doesn't constitute a jailable offense. The sheriff personally sets the booking policies for our jails. We need the sheriff's partnership to be able to use jailing folks who have been asked, some more than 20 separate times, to clean up their encampments, to go to the shelter, to accept the help that we're offering. For folks who have repeatedly refused, and by the way, huge pile of hypodermic needles on the ground. Drug use is driving this problem. We have offered shelter. We've built 48 shelter beds in Vista. I have 12 people offering the shelter proactively to people living in encampments in our city. But when they continue to refuse the help we're offering, I need the help and the partnership of law enforcement and of our sheriff's department and our jails as a last and worst option to get people to accept the help we're offering and to stop living in our streets and polluting our waterways. They were living right next to a waterway that flows directly to the ocean. We've tested it repeatedly. It's full of E. coli and human waste. We're destroying our environment. And by the way, this is Caltrans property. CHP is here once a month. I'm asking Governor Newsom, complete the tamper-proof fence and bring CHP through and help me access the jails and law enforcement to solve this problem.
All right, let's kind of flush out.
Yeah.
Said a whole lot.
Yeah, I know, it's too much for once.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay, so first, specifically about today, all right, you went out with sheriff's deputies.
Yes.
What did you guys do? Where did you go? What did you see?
So this morning we went out with a group of 8 sheriff's deputies and myself and city staff, and we contacted people. We found 8 people living in the Caltrans property behind us here.
Okay. And what happened? Were they given a warning? Were their belongings removed?
Sheriff's deputies detained the individuals, pushed them out of the area, and gave them a warning that future behavior would result in prosecution for violating our camping ban.
Okay, so when you say they were detained, who were they brought to? What happens to them?
They were detained on site.
Okay, and then they were released?
They were released, yes.
Okay, and then so they're still back in that area?
Presumably they are, yes.
So what happens next?
Well, what happens next, as I just said, the sheriff put out a press release this morning saying that under her booking policy that she sets that, and this was in response to our anti-camping ban passed on Tuesday this week, that living on the street is not a jailable offense, in her words. I don't want to jail people for living on the street, but when people are living in an encampment and have been asked 20 separate times to come to the shelter and to get off the streets and they still refuse, jail has to be a last and worst option.
So specifically for these folks,
yes,
they were given, you know, the warning, if you will, today. Are you guys going to come back tomorrow? What is the plan in terms of, you know, what happens to these individuals?
So the city of Vista is a contract city, meaning we utilize the sheriff's department to provide policing services in our city. And the sheriff in every city in the county is in charge of who can be booked into the jails because they belong to the sheriff. So we need the sheriff to allow us access to the jails for people who have been asked and warned numerous times, 20 or more times each, to clean up their encampments, but they don't change their behavior because they refuse to do so voluntarily. We need to have law enforcement have our back. The sheriff needs to have our back. We need to have access to the jails.
When you say 20 times, but these individuals have been warned 20 times?
Absolutely. The deputies know every one of these individuals by name. They've had multiple conversations with each and every one of them.
So we actually talked to an individual who said that she's been on a waiting list to get into a shelter. You know, what help is there out there for those individuals?
We have shelter beds available at our shelter today. Our Vista Buena Creek Navigation Center has been open since March 8th. That's 163 days. 5 days out of 163, we have been at capacity. We are watching carefully to determine whether we need to create more capacity, but we have only had a full capacity issue 5 days out of 163. So far, lack of capacity has not been the problem. The problem remains the unwillingness of individuals to go to the shelter when they're asked to do so.
So the other side of this, we've obviously been covering this issue in different parts of the county, like for example in the city of San Diego, where there is the option of, all right, not everyone wants to go into a shelter, but there has to be another option. What is your option for the individuals that don't want to go into a shelter?
There is no other option. You either go to the shelter, or it should be the judgment of the sheriff of San Diego County and the citizens of this county. If you won't accept the help that we're offering, then you have to go to jail. That's it. If you don't want to go to the shelter, get 3 hot meals a day, a clean shower, clean clothes, then we should not continue to say yes to allowing you to live in a ravine. Those are the 3 options. Live in a ravine, like they're doing behind me, go to the shelter, or go to jail. There are no other options. We need better access to the state mental institutions. Governor Newsom needs to fund our state mental institutions. We need more special treatment. We need access through care court to conservatorship. Pre-pandemic, there were 1,285 people in conservatorship in San Diego County. Today, there are 380. We have stopped using conservatorship as a tool. We need to begin again to use conservatorship for people who are severely mentally ill or chronically addicted to substance. The state legislature just adopted SB 43. It's been in the news. You've reported on it. We need to use the laws to get people the help they need, whether they are well enough to say yes, or if they're too sick to know they're sick. We need to help them either way.
So at this point, if you're saying the sheriff is saying that it's not a jailable offense, you've already given the warning, what happens next? Because as you said, the city council had already approved this.
Right, so the city council doesn't control the jails. The sheriff does. What we need now, when we have Governor Newsom was a week ago in homeless encampments, picking up trash, and he said, I don't want to see statistics, I don't want to see numbers. The Governor Newsom said, I want to see results. The governor's frustrated, I'm frustrated.
So what do you plan to do about it?
What we need, I'm talking to you right now. That's what I'm doing about it. I need the citizens of San Diego County to demand access to their jails so that we can solve this problem. Once we've offered somebody to go to the shelter 20 separate times and they still refuse, why is jail not an option?
Have you reached out to the sheriff?
Absolutely.
And what is transpired?
I have not spoken to the sheriff since she issued her statement literally hours ago. She issued a statement hours ago in response to the actions of our city council. I'm talking to you right now.
No, but I'm specifically with
I
the
am
sheriff.
talking to the news to put pressure on our elected officials at the County Board of Supervisors and the Sheriff of San Diego County and the District Attorney to do their job and to make access to the jails possible for individuals who are polluting our waterways, who are trafficking in narcotic drugs, who are destroying our environment, who are degrading our local economy. Right behind me here is Starbucks. A man was caught committing a lewd act in the bathroom 2 days ago. I was there when it happened. They're destroying our businesses. And by the way, they're overdosing. They're dying on the streets of exposure. They need help. They're human beings. They deserve to be helped, not abandoned in our waterways and in our Caltrans properties. The governor wants it done. I want it done. And I say this, when Governor Newsom and John Franklin agree on something, you better stand out of the way. We better get it done. You know, people on all sides of the political spectrum want to see results. It's time to stop the excuses and get something done. It's time for action.
Just real quick, and just look at her when you answer. What about, you know, Vista gets my question is, Vista is going to be strong in their enforcement, but they can just go across the street to another municipality and then just set up camp there. What about that? What about that argument that you're just kicking the problem to the next city over?
So if our county leaders will stand with us, if our sheriff will give us access to the jails for those individuals who've been asked numerous times to go and refuse to leave the encampments, then we won't be pushing the problem from Vista into Oceanside and into San Marcos. Instead, we'll be actually solving the problem. But we need leaders in every city in the county to stand up and join us in our resolve to end this problem once and for all, and to do it in a compassionate way. We've opened 48 new shelter beds. We have outreach to every single of the 170 people that are homeless in our city. We've reached out to every single one of them numerous times to ask them to go to the shelter. We are asking people to say yes, to come with us to the shelter, let us help them get them into permanent housing, and let us help them get treatment for their narcotic addiction or their severe mental illness.
And then one more. Question was. I'm drawing a blank. Go ahead. Oh, I know what I was going to ask. Not to put words in your mouth. I can hear it in your voice.
Yeah.
Answer, looking at Marie, please.
Right.
Are you disappointed with the sheriff's stand on this after your action?
I am disappointed with the statement that the sheriff released this morning. What she said is it's going to continue to be business as usual, and we're not going to enforce the law like we haven't been for the last 5 years. She said at the end of her statement that she controls the booking policy for the jails, and she said that repeated violations of anti-capping ordinances do not rise under her policy to a jailable offense. If I cannot have access to the jails as a last worst option, then all I can do is ask people politely to leave and to take the help we're offering. That is not enough for somebody who's been asked 20 times to take the help that we're offering, to get out of drug addiction, get off the street, get into a safe, warm place with 3 hot meals, a warm shower, clean clothes, and to take the help we're offering. Anytime you want to come with me to our shelter, I'd love to show it to you. It's the finest shelter in San Diego County, and we're out actively offering it every single day.
And then my final question, is there anything that we forgot to ask you about that might be important for us to know?
I think you got it and then some. I know you got way more than you're going to use.
All right. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much.